I want you to picture a scenario that I think every single person listening has experienced. You are in the zone. You're deep in a project, maybe coding, maybe writing a report, just finally getting some real thinking done. And then you need to check one tiny detail, maybe a meeting time, or an attachment in an email from last week.
The dreaded quick check.
Exactly. The quick check that is never, ever quick. You open a new browser tab, you type gmail.com, you wait.
Oh, the waiting.
You watch that little blue bar load halfway and then just stop. And while that's happening, what are you seeing? A badge with 5 unread, a chat notification, a promo email from some pizza place you went to 3 years ago.
I've been hijacked. You went in for a specific piece of data and you were met with a dashboard that is designed from the ground up to distract you.
10 minutes later, you realize you're reading a newsletter you don't even care about. And you have completely forgotten what you were originally doing. It's the friction of the modern web.
It is. And for a lot of people, especially developers, sysadmins, people who live in the terminal, that friction is the enemy. Web apps are powerful, but they are heavy. They eat RAM, they eat bandwidth, and most importantly, they eat your attention.
Which brings us to today's deep dive. We are looking at a tool that is effectively a rebellion against the browser. It's called gogcli.
Right. It's an open source tool on GitHub created by a developer named steipete. And the pitch is, well, it's deceptively simple. It's the Google suite in your terminal.
And I want to be clear right off the bat, we aren't just talking about a little tool that pings you when you get an email. This thing claims to be a massive Swiss Army knife. We're talking Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Docs, Sheets, Classroom tasks.
It connects to almost the entire Google ecosystem.
All from the command line. No browser tabs, no loading bars,
Yeah.
Zero distractions.
Exactly.
So let's unpack this, because I think for a lot of people, the idea of checking your email in a terminal sounds like something out of a 90s hacker movie. Is this actually practical, or is it just for people who really love green text on a black background?
It's a fair question. But when you look at how gogcli is built, you realize it's solving a very modern problem. It's written in Go, which is known for being incredibly fast and efficient.
Okay.
But the real secret sauce here isn't just the speed, it's the philosophy. It's designed for JSON-first output.
JSON first. Okay, I know we have a mix of listeners. Some are engineers, some are just productivity nerds. Why is that the headline feature?
Because it changes what the tool is for. If you open Gmail in a browser, the output is visual. It's for human eyes. Pretty tables, fonts, colors. But computers are terrible at reading that.
Right, you're trying to scrape screens and parse HTML. It's just a mess.
It's a nightmare. But gogcli flips that. It says, I am going to give you the raw structured data first. It outputs JSON JavaScript object notation, which is basically the universal language of data on the web.
So you can pipe that data into other programs. You can script it.
Precisely. Instead of being a passive consumer of the app, you become the programmer of your own data. You can install it with Homebrew or from the Arch user repository, and then it's just text commands. Bam, bam, bam.
I love the sound of that. But let's get into the nitty-gritty. What can it actually do? Let's start with the big ones that eat up our day. Gmail and Calendar.
So the Gmail capabilities are surprisingly deep. It's not just a read-only viewer. It supports the full search syntax you're already used to. So you can run a command like gogmail list query newer than .7d has .attachment.
See, finding attachments is my personal hell in the browser.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always clicking through 20 nested threads, expanding messages, looking for that little paperclip icon.
Here, you bypass the UI entirely. You can actually tell the tool to fetch the thread details and just download the attachments directly to a local directory. It uses flags like download and outdir.
Walk me through that. What does that command actually look like?
You'd say something like, gogmail list query from .client at example.com has deus.attachment, and then you'd add download outdir.attachments.
And that's it.
You hit enter, and 3 seconds later, every file that client ever sent you is sitting in a folder on your desktop.
That is a game changer.
Yeah.
You don't even have to open the emails. You just extract the value and move on.
Exactly. And you can send emails too. You can compose them entirely from the terminal, pipe in a text file for the body, send HTML, attach files, all without ever touching a mouse.
Now, in the research notes, there was one feature about sending emails that really stood out to me. It felt a little spy versus spy. The email tracking.
Ah, yes. The pixel tracker. This is a feature that usually costs money.
Right. You need a subscription to Superhuman or HubSpot or something to see if someone opened your email. Gogcli just does this for free.
It does, but it's not magic. It's infrastructure. Gogcli empowers you to build the backend for it yourself.
Explain that. How does a terminal tool know Someone opened an email on their iPhone.
It uses a tracking pixel, a tiny, invisible one-by-one image embedded in the email. When the recipient opens it, their mail client has to request that image from a server. That request is the signal.
Okay, so you need a server.
You do. But gogcli guides you through setting up a Cloudflare worker. It's a tiny serverless script, usually free for personal use. You set that up once, link it to the tool, and then when you send an email with the track flag, you can query the system to see exactly when it was opened.
That is wildly powerful.
Yeah.
It moves that whole enterprise capability into the hands of, well, anyone willing to run a setup script.
It really does, and the calendar integration is just as robust.
I rely on my calendar to function as a person.
Yeah.
But for me, the calendar is a visual grid. I need to see the white space. How does a text interface replace that?
It simplifies it. It removes the visual noise. If you just need to know, what do I have today? You run Gog Calendar list today, you just get a clean list. No waiting for the grid to render.
Yeah, okay, but what about scheduling?
That's where the real power is. Conflict detection. In the browser, scheduling with 5 people means toggling 5 calendars, looking at this messy overlay of colors, trying to find a gap.
Calendar Tetris. I hate it.
With gogcli, you can run one command to check free busy for a whole group. You ask the tool, when is everyone free next Tuesday? It just returns the timestamps. It does the logic for you.
I see here it also supports specific event types, like focus time or out of office.
Yes, and working location too. This is huge for hybrid work. You know how you have to toggle that little switch in Google Calendar to say, I'm at home or I'm at the office?
Yeah, and I forget to do it half the time.
You could script this. You could have a startup script on your laptop that checks your Wi-Fi network. If you're at home, it tells gogcli to set your status to working from home. If you're at the office, it sets it to office.
That is the definition of set it and forget it.
It just removes the admin burden.
All right, let's move to the file system. Drive, Docs, Sheets. This is another area where I feel like the visual interface is hard to beat. I recognize files by their icons. How does it handle that?
It treats Google Drive like a local file system. You have list, search, upload, download, the standard stuff. But the killer feature is the conversion engine. Think about this workflow. You're a developer. You write your documentation in Markdown because it's fast. But your manager needs it in a Google Doc so they can leave comments.
The classic format clash. Yes.
gogcli can upload your Markdown file and convert it to a Google Doc on the fly. It just handles the formatting translation.
And does it go the other way? Can I download a doc as something else?
Absolutely. You can download a Google Doc and just specify format PDF or format docs.
That saves so many clicks.
Yeah.
File download PDFs. It's just one command.
It's instantaneous. And consider the find and replace feature.
You can do find and replace from the terminal.
Yep. Gog Docs, find replace. Let's say you have a contract template. You need to change client name to Acme Corp. You do that with one command without ever opening the document.
But wait, if it's a command, does that mean I can run it on multiple files at once?
So you're thinking like a programmer. Yes. You could write a simple loop. For every file in this folder, replace 2025 with 2026. Try doing that in the browser. You'd be opening tabs until your computer crashed.
That is so satisfying. It's like industrial scale editing.
It really is.
Now, looking at the feature list, there are some hidden gems here. I saw Classroom on the list, which surprised me. I don't usually associate CLI tools with school teachers.
It's surprisingly robust. If you're a teacher using Google Classroom, the administrative overhead is massive. Managing rosters, inviting guardians, updating coursework.
So gogcli hooks into that API.
Deeply. You can manage courses, rosters, even grades. Imagine you have a spreadsheet of grades. You could script the upload of those grades directly into Google Classroom for 300 students, instantly.
That turns a 3-hour Sunday afternoon into a 30-second script.
Exactly. It turns the teacher from a data entry clerk into a manager.
And it handles Google Tasks, too.
Full management, add, update, complete, delete. And it handles repeating schedules.
It seems like it touches everything. Chat, spaces, contacts.
Even app script. You can run app script functions directly from your terminal. That is a deep cut for developers who use Google scripting language to build internal tools.
Okay, we keep dancing around the how. We've mentioned scripting a few times. I want to really dig into this JSON first philosophy again. How do I actually construct these workflows?
So if you're using gogcli, your best friend is going to be another command line tool called JQ.
JQ, standard JSON processor.
Right. Think of gogcli as the fire hose that brings the data down, and JQ as the filter or the funnel.
Give me a concrete example. Walk me through a real automation.
Okay, let's go back to Drive. Say you want to download every single PDF you own. All of them, maybe for a backup.
Okay.
Step 1. You run GogDrive list query MIME type contains PDF JSON. This dumps a massive block of text to JSON object that describes every PDF you have.
But you can't download a text block.
No. So you pipe that output into JQ. You
Yep.
tell JQ, ignore the dates, ignore the names, just give me the file ID for each one. Now you have a clean list of just the IDs.
And
Then you pipe those IDs into a loop, like a standard zargs command that runs GogDrive download for each and every ID.
so in one single line of code, you have automated the backup of thousands of files.
Exactly. Or with email, you could search for all emails from a newsletter you're tired of and batch remove the unread label so they stop clogging your notifications.
That is incredibly satisfying. It's like declaring bankruptcy on a specific part of your inbox with surgical precision.
And for simpler scripts, if you don't want to mess with JSON, there's a plain flag. It just outputs tab-separated values, great for a basic shell script.
Now, with all this power downloading files, deleting emails, changing calendars, security has to be a major concern. I mean, if I make a typo in a script, could I accidentally delete my whole drive?
Oh, absolutely. With great power comes great capability to delete your life's work.
Right. So how do we stop that?
gogcli has a really interesting feature called the command allow list. It lets you sandbox the tool.
How did that work?
Let's say you have a Raspberry Pi on your desk and you want it to display your next meeting on a little LCD screen. Cool project.
Really?
But you don't want that Pi to have permission to delete your emails. So you can configure gogcli on that device to only run the command calendar list. Even if someone hacks it, the tool simply refuses to do anything else.
That is smart. It's least privilege applied to the tool itself.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the setup, though, because whenever I hear API and Oath, I expect a headache. How hard is it to get this running?
I won't lie, it's not plug and play like an app from the App Store, and there's a very specific reason for that. You have to create your own OAuth 2 credentials in the Google Cloud Console.
Okay, that sounds intimidating for a beginner. The Google Cloud Console is not exactly user-friendly.
It's not. It's an enterprise dashboard. You have to create a project, set up a consent screen, generate a client ID. It takes about 10 or 15 minutes of clicking.
Why? Why make it so hard? Why not just bake a key into the app so it works out of the box?
2 reasons. One is quotas. Google puts strict limits on how much a specific app can hit their servers. If gogcli shipped with a shared ID and it got popular, everyone would hit a wall and the tool would just stop working.
Ah, the traffic jam problem.
Exactly. By creating your own ID, you have your own personal lane on the highway. You'll never hit the rate limit.
And the second reason?
Security. It's just bad practice to embed a secret key inside an open source binary that anyone can download and reverse engineer. By making you own the keys, you own the security.
That makes sense.
Why?
It's a hurdle, but it's a hurdle that ensures reliability. Once you have those credentials, how does it store them? Am I pasting huge text strings every time?
No, thankfully. It integrates with your system's keychain. So on a Mac, it uses the keychain. On Windows, the credential manager, it stores the token securely. It's not just saving a password in a text file.
That's a relief.
Yeah.
And what if I have a work account and a personal account?
It handles that. You can set up aliases like at Gmail for personal and at work for your job. You just use the account flag to switch between them instantly.
I also noticed something about headless auth. What does that mean?
Think about a remote server, a VPS you rent to run backups. That machine doesn't have a monitor. It doesn't have a web browser. So you can't pop up a sign-in with Google Window.
Right, there's no screen to click allow on.
So gogcli has a flow for this. It generates a URL on the server. You copy that URL, paste it into your laptop's browser, authorize it, and it gives you a code to paste back into the server.
It decouples the authentication from the machine running the tool. That is really thoughtful design.
It feels like this was built by someone who actually faced these problems and decided to solve them properly. It's a tool for engineers.
Definitely feels scratch your own itch in the best way possible.
And it supports least privilege scopes during that setup, too. You don't have to give it the keys to the kingdom. If you only want to check your calendar, you can request a token that only has calendar scope.
Just look, don't touch.
Exactly.
So we've covered a lot here. We've got a tool that transforms Google Workspace from a collection of slow websites into a fast, scriptable database. It handles everything from email tracking to document conversion to class grading.
And it does it all with a focus on speed, automation, and security.
We should mention the documentation credits Mario Zechner's original CLIs-GMPLI GDcli as inspiration. It's cool to see how open source builds on itself.
Standing on the shoulders of giants.
So here's where we land. Gogcli is not for everyone. If you love dragging and dropping files and looking at colorful icons, stick to the browser. There's no shame in that.
Right. If the command line intimidates you, this is going to be a steep learning curve. But if you live in the terminal...
If you live in the terminal, this is freedom.
It transforms your administrative work into code.
And that's the thought I want to leave you with today. We spend so much time administering our lives, moving events, filing emails, renaming documents. We act like manual laborers in our own digital factories.
That's a great analogy.
If you could script your email and calendar, how much of that work could you actually just automate away? Is the future of productivity actually going back to the terminal?
It's a compelling argument. When you strip away the interface, all that's left is the data, and data is what matters.
Something to think about the next time you're staring at a loading bar. Thanks for diving in with us.
Always a pleasure.
See you on the next deep dive.